Hello again, this is the Craps Coach. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Thanks for joining in today. Before I get started on this video, please, if you like the content, make sure you subscribe so you know when we put new stuff out. And make sure you like if you like what you're seeing. By all means, if you got a comment, I love to hear from what people have to say. I can do some research. So leave a comment what your thoughts are. So today's a video I'm going to put into the craps strategy category. It is based upon this book. I talked about this book on a video. I talked about charting, super charting, and mega charting. And so the book is called You Can Earn Each Hour 12 to $24 or more playing casino craps. Now, this book was written in 1992, so probably back then a $5 table was probably the norm. I know today it's about a $10 table, seems to be the norm. But what the author is advocating is that $12 to $24 or more can be made with what he has to talk about in this book. So I'm going to dissect this book. So this more than likely will be video one where I just talk about what he's advocating and kind of his strategy. And then I also got the idea, if this was written in 1992 and $12 to $24, well, that's scalable. I can, if I just bet at a higher minimum bet, this could be 24 to 48 or any multiple of 12 there that you could do. You could go 36 to 72. It doesn't matter. You could scale it up. And that's what kind of piqued my interest. So I wanted to kind of dissect it because he does in this, we'll talk about charting. He uses these terms, charting, super charting, and mega charting. And I talked about that in a previous video. So if you're like, what is this guy talking about? Well, go back and find that video, please, and you can see the examples. So let's get into this here. So he kind of introduces a lot of math in here. And the premise is that, we stay to the place bets. We do not do the field bets. We do not do pass line. We do not do don't pass. We don't do any bets in the center. We don't do any CNEs. So we just simply bypass the come out roll. And then once the point's established, we can do our place bets. So let's talk a little bit about place bets. Again, in-depth video on place bets in the craps basics category or playlist that I have on YouTube. But let me first talk about, and I'm going to put these signs up here, hopefully. I'll probably put the little graphic somewhere over here, but let's just first talk about the 6 and the 8. So one of the things most players will know that they'll tell you the 6, place in the 6 and the 8. Multiples of 6. For every multiple of 6, you win 7. That is probably one of the lowest house edge bets there can be. And if you can see this, it'll be in the chart too, 1.52%. That's for an individual bet. So whatever is applicable to the 6 would also be applicable to the 8. So same house edge on that. And he kind of uses some math to demonstrate his way. And so I'll just kind of quickly go over that. When you look at the number of ways there are to make a 6, there are 5 ways. When you look at the number of ways to make a 7, there are 6 ways. So that's a total of 11 events. The 6 ways to make a 7 plus the 5 ways to make a 6. So 11 events. So, and since you're wagering $6 on the placing the 6, that's a net investment of 66. And then your return can be and this is the one of the key things he talks about is the return is obviously if your place bet wins, 5 ways to win at $6 each, and then you take your bet down. So your return is $13 times the 5 different ways to win this And that's where you kind of, if you do the math, 66 divided by 65, you come pretty close to the 1.52%. So he'll talk a lot about this portion of it, but that's on a single bet. So now you have two place bets, which are essentially the same casino advantage, 1.52 and 1.52. So if we look at them alone, yeah, we can say each one is 1.52% advantage. But when you combine them, you're taking the 1.52 and then mathematically kind of marrying it up to another 1.52% house advantage. And so when you do that, it drives the house advantage down, and he claims it drives it down pretty much to a percentage of 1.04 or 1.042. This is not unlike when we pass line bet, for example. Again, most people know that the pass line advantage is not much at all. It's 1.41% advantage here. So let me just grab my stick. So on a pass line bet, we have a 1.41% advantage. But when we take odds, that takes that 1.41% house advantage and drives it down because odds are being paid at true. And so you're combining the odds, the house advantage odds here with the true odds, and so it drives it down. And so he's claiming this kind of the same thing, but a lot of times everybody just talks about these in terms of as a single bet. So I do kind of understand what he's saying, and one of the things with his logic is that if you're going to, whatever strategy you're going to play, you're just going to place the 6. Once you take a hit, you take your bet down. And then combining. So with that logic, the same would be applicable to placing the 5 and the 9. So, that's the 4. No, let's just put the 9 there. It's a 4% advantage, and then it's the same. The 5 and the 9 are paired. 4 different ways to make a 5, 4 different ways to make a 9. And so we see here, and I'll put it on the chart, that the house advantage is only 4%. Again, bet a 5, you can win 7. So those are standalone, but when you combine, placing the 5 and the 9, we take this 4% and we drive it down to about 2.857%. So again, that's probably good. That is good. It's not probably good. It is good. So when he talks about his system, and it's really about placing bets and what sort of combination that you do. So if, for example, you simply do a place bet on the 6 and the 8, and if one of them were to hit, then you would take both place bets down. You would take your winnings and you would take your place bets down. So that's where a combination of 1.52 plus 1.52 with he's advocating that it drives the house advantage down to, let me reference, 1.042%. And then he's advocating the same thing. If you place the 5 and the 9 together, it takes it from a 4% down to 2.857 percent. And then obviously his big thing is if you win the bet, you take the bet down. So then he goes on to talk more about, well, what if we did combinations? So, you could have a combination of 2 place bets, for example. You could have the 6 and the 8, like I demonstrated, but you could have the 5 and the 6. You could have the 6, I already did the 6 and the 8. You could have the 6 and the 9. You could have the 8 and the 5, combining those house advantages, or you could have the 8 and the 9. So 2 place bets. Again, you're taking the individual house advantage and then combining it and going down on that. I'll talk more about how to actually strategize this or use this in the next video, part 2, if you will, but that's kind of what the premise of this all. So then if you could have 2, well, then it stands to reason you could have 3. For example, you could have the 6, the 8, and the 5. You could have the 6 and the 8 and the 9. You could then have the 5, 8, and 9. Or if I haven't done this one, the 5, 6, and 9. So in 3-place bets, you can have certainly different combinations here. So one more time, let's just make this the easy way. I'll go straight across. I could have 3-place bets combination. I could have 5, 6, 8. I could have 5, 6, 9. I could have 5, 8, 9. And I could have 9 and 6 and 8. So that's kind of what he's going. So now if 3-place bets are good, and then we could certainly say that 4th-place bets are good also. So the thing about having 4 now, and this is where his charting, super charting, and mega charting come in, is that there are 18 different ways to make these numbers. That's actually half of the possible 36 outcomes. He never really talks too much about placing 6-place bets, but obviously if you could do 4, you could do 5, and you could even do 6. Remember, since you're placing the bet, doesn't matter what their point is, because once the point's established, you can place your bets. You could cover them all numbers and all that. And one of the key things he says about this is when one of the numbers hits, we'll say 6 hits, you're going to get paid, but you also take the sister number down. Okay? And then you just kind of wait out. So overall, my initial assessment, I haven't played this yet, is that it's kind of a very slow grind as far as how long it takes you to make that. And again, the book is titled $12 to $24 or more each hour. So it does imply it's kind of a slow grind as far as that. And you're just, you're capitalizing on the fact you're kind of combining house advantages, and then once one hits, you're taking your bet off on that. So I will mostly practice that in the next video, but I just wanted to kind of go through kind of what the premise was on this, because it does involve a lot. It's going to involve charting, charting the table, seeing what the ratio from inside numbers to total numbers there are, and so sometimes that can kind of give us some information as far as kind of what to bet. For example, if the number of inside number was skewed in the negative, meaning out of 40 rolls, the expectation is that I would see 20 inside numbers, and for example, there was only 10. That may tell me, okay, I need to maybe increase the bets short term to capitalize on the anomaly, because the dice are always fighting to get back to kind of the normal distribution that what craps is. And most players at the table are simply random rollers, so we know they're fighting towards that combination of being to normalize. So, all right, I'm going to end my video there. But as always, thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. If you got something to say, you can leave a comment. And look forward to the next video where I put this to the test.